This video is about teaching yourself regenerative grazing in 12 months. Advice on how best to improve soil health with regenerative grazing is confusing and conflicting, and over my 30 years of farming and training, this inconsistent advice creates the most questions, stress and delay. Small, safe-to-fail trials focused on changing the soil surface, which is the primary driver of soil health, allows you to rapidly produce results beyond your imagination. For example, using safe-to-fail trials and my advice, Benjamin transformed desert in Somaliland to dense perennial grassland in 12 months.
So hey Graham, this is for you. So this was one of our safe-to-fails. It's incredible. It's like it's knee deep. It's completely covered. It's very interesting to me.
Hi, I'm Graham Hand. In this video I will cover the skills you must be able to apply to teach yourself regenerative grazing in 12 months. The main and most exciting takeaway is how quickly you can restore soil health with the skills that I will be discussing. Most areas can be regenerated within 2 years. Also exciting is that this is possible without inputs. Discussing regenerative practices can be controversial and many practices can work. Simple trials allow you to work out which of these suit you. The two skills that we'll be talking about are small, safe-to-fail trials and measuring soil health by measuring the soil surface. This is also known as landscape function. Safe-to-fail trials on your land with your animals tell you which combinations of recovery, stock density and plant utilisation you need to do more of and which ones you need to do less of. Regenerative grazing is complex, and as complexity can only be understood by trials and experiments, it's important to carry out small, safe-to-fail trials. These trials are simple and easy to manage if designed so that it is convenient to get the animals into the trial areas, and as long as the trial areas are secure and semi-permanent. The purpose of these areas is to trial the different combinations of recovery, stock density and plant utilisation that rapidly restores soil health on your farm. These areas also act as early warning indicators if something has changed. A good trial to include is recovery of 12 months, a stock density of 1 cow per 3 square metres or 1 sheep per metre squared, and plant utilisation greater than 80%. We have many sites using this combination as a linking trial. Because the same treatments have been applied on different soils, rainfalls, growing seasons, grass types, the linking trials will save you time by suggesting combinations of the grazing variables that will produce a workable design. One of the common statements I get is that the whole farm is a trial and there is no need to do safe-to-fail trials. My experience is that this adds 10 to 15 years to find a workable, stable, low-cost, low-risk, profitable design. Please see the links below for how to design convenient safe-to-fail trials. The other reason that we need safe-to-fail trials is that you cannot think your way through complexity. You can only act your way through complexity. So this is a foundation idea for managing complexity. I like this quote that I first heard from Jerry Sternan. It is easier to act your way into a new way of thinking than think your way into a new way of acting. The other skill is actually measuring soil health by measuring the soil surface. So a healthy soil surface is covered with dense, mature perennial grasses and decomposing litter. This is because fibrous-rooted perennial grasses increase soil health through root exudates and habitat for soil life. The litter from perennial grasses also increases soil carbon faster than other plants. A little known fact is that the perennial grasses continue to feed soil life even when dormant, whereas annuals tend to shut down. Another supporting fact is that decomposing perennial grass litter between mature perennial grass plants doubles your nutrient cycling, increases water infiltration by 40%, and reduces erosion by over 15%. Set stocking, or grazing with short recoveries, usually produces young perennial grasses that do not provide the nutrient cycling and water infiltration required for a low-cost, low-risk grazing business. These young perennial grasses, combined with practices such as resowing, herbicides and nitrogen fertiliser, reduce decomposition of the litter further, increasing drought risk and costs for fertiliser. Focusing on the diversity of annuals, forbs and other plants can be expensive and risky if your management has not built the foundations of soil health first. Research by David Tongway found that measuring the soil surface tells you more about how well a landscape is working and soil health than identifying and counting species, measuring soil chemistry and classifying soil types. At its core, monitoring the soil surface in a grazing business is estimating how much of each hectare is covered with mature perennial grasses and how much of each hectare is covered with decomposing litter. David Tongway and Alan Savory explained to me that measuring the soil surface tells you how your management is impacting landscape and soil health. A few examples of David's work are developing techniques for restoring mine sites, restoring degraded low rainfall areas like Cobar, assisting with the restoration of land in Kuwait after the Gulf War, and many others. Alan Savory has developed techniques for restoring perennial grasslands, croplands and other agriculture, which is a small part of his holistic management framework. Not only is measuring the soil surface more accurate than most other monitoring driven by plant species, it also provides clues on which safe-to-fail trials are worth doing to improve landscape and soil health. If you concentrate on the main indicators, you will very quickly get your eye in so that you will be able to recognise the combination of perennial grass plants and litter that rapidly restores soil health. Once you know that the soil surface must be covered with mature perennial grass bases and decomposing litter, it's quite easy to think your way through what you should do next. Simply increase the number and size of mature perennial grass bases and the amount of decomposing litter. The lowest cost, lowest risk method to increase mature perennial grasses and litter decomposition is by increasing recovery, time, stock density and plant utilisation. Increasing litter decomposition typically requires higher stock density. Animals bunched up push the litter onto the soil and into contact with the soil life, which enables the litter to be colonised and start to decompose. High stock density also promotes the germination of the perennial grass seed bank. We have not found an area yet that does not improve with increased recovery, stock density and plant utilisation. This does not mean that it might not be quicker with inputs that increase nutrient cycling and litter decomposition, but they would also require a safe-to-fail trial to check that the extra inputs were worth the cost and effort. Personally, I've tried many inputs, compost teas, biochar, and even though some improved the landscape function, I did not consider them to be worth the effort and cost. Hit the subscribe button below if this sounds of interest. You can book a free 30-minute call on Hand for the Land and see the links below for the free materials. Thanks for listening. Bye.